I hear this all the time. Many people have a certain respect for the Code Zero because it has a lot of sail area. It is a very large sail. They are often sailing with a smaller crew. We would like to show you right now that this is not the case at all, that it is super easy to handle and manage and simply provides much more fun, especially in light winds. We now have about 7 or 8 knots of wind here on the Bavaria 37 and it's perfect. We can handle the Code Zero well. The Code Zero, especially on modern sailboats, is absolute light wind fun. Where we might otherwise, with just 5 knots of wind, say, okay, engine on, let's head back to the harbor. We can actually still sail. We're now hoisting the Code Zero. We'll show you exactly how that works. We have already prepared the bag right here. The Code Zero sail bag is always a long, elongated one for us. To secure things firmly to the railing so that the bag won't get lost afterwards or the sail won't get lost either, we've got these special snap shackles here. We simply click them right into place. All the way up at the top, a zipper. The sail, so this is the furling system with the snap shackle attached right here at its very bottom end. That then gets mounted up front, right onto the bowsprit. The retractable leash, I would always recommend taking it to the other side, just like you would with the furling line of the jib. Currently, the furling line for the jib is positioned on the port side. This means that we will then move the endless line over to the starboard side. When it's being lowered, it's crucial that we ensure it's positioned on the correct side. Take a moment to look up so it isn't twisted around the feet line. Freely, it comes up here to the vortex. Here, it's crucial to double check that the shackle is completely closed and not even slightly ajar, ensuring it won't accidentally open later on. Next, we will proceed with mounting the sheets. We have already prepared the port sheet, specifically the one on this side. The starboard sheet needs to go all the way around the forestay. Both ports will then be mounted. Add the glue with a soft shackle, just firmly attached. We've now got everything prepared here on the foredeck. Theoretically, we could also do this already in the harbor, then put it back in its bag here and just comfortably head out. Then when we want to set the sail, we'll have everything prepared. So it works just as well to do it in the harbor. We are now setting the sail completely. It is extremely important for the Code Zero, or indeed for all sails that are set flying, that we maintain sufficient halyard tension and have a reliable halyard. We have to imagine that the torsion cable will be tensioned later, and this torsion cable transmits the furling force to the sail. If the cable isn't properly tensioned, it furls poorly. If it's tightly tensioned, it furls well. Now, there are normal polyester halyards, let's say, which have a lot of stretch. This means if we tension it and wind pressure builds, the halyard stretches again. That's why for a Code Zero or any flying rollable sail, we always recommend using at least a Dyneema SK78 halyard. This is a halyard with very little stretch and we absolutely recommend it. For boats up to, let's say, 40 or 45 feet, a 1-to-1 halyard system is perfectly sufficient. However, for all larger boats, we strongly recommend reeving the halyard with a 2-to-1 purchase. This means it has a stop at the top of the mast, then it goes over a pulley, down and then back into the mast. This also means that later, on the turning block and on the halyard clutch, we'll only have half the load to deal with, which is why it is quite sensible or really recommendable for large boats to use a 2-to-1 halyard system there. Alright, we're moving on now. It's time to set the sail. Are you ready? The first few meters went well by hand. Towards the end, it's crucial to really set the halyard tension with the winch. I would also recommend, depending on the type of halyard clutch you're using, to simply keep the sails halyard on the winch if that winch is available. This means leaving the Code Zero halyard directly on the winch. Then you protect the material and avoid the risk of it slipping through the halyard clutch. Let's make sure that we don't get tangled up with the sheet here. It's being moved to the back here. At the rear, the furling line incorporates an elastic section with a snap hook, which allows us to maintain constant tension on the line. Only when the line is taut and under tension are we certain that the sail won't unroll by itself and that the line remains neatly in place here. Here we can secure it perfectly to the cleat. Hook it in, the line is taut. We're unfurling the sail now on the port side. Then it is still important, or especially then, that we have the opposite side, meaning the windward sheet, cleared and laid out here, so prepared that it can simply unroll without twisting. When unrolling, we have a hook and loop fastener on the sail for the first, let's say, 80 centimeters. What that means is, initially, you need to pull a little more firmly until this Velcro closure has come undone. Once it's open, the sail will then unroll more or less by itself, driven by the wind pressure, and we're going to demonstrate that right now.
Okay, that's going to work.
The sail is now fully unfurled. This is our light wind turbo. We're standing right here and you can clearly see the huge difference. The sail is of course much larger than the regular jib. It almost reaches all the way down to the companionway. We're sailing now. The wind has calmed down a bit. We still have approximately 4.5 knots of wind and we're also sailing at about 4.5 knots of speed. The true wind angle is roughly 45 degrees. If we were to compare now, if we only had the jib up, we're not having any fun. We're only going maybe 3 knots, 2.5, 3 knots, then we would have to start the engine. But right now we're sailing along at 4.5 knots.
We are now going to execute a tack with the Code Zero. My first task will be to clear the sheet, specifically the leeward sheet, and then I'll hand it over to Felix so that he can properly ease the sheet for me and I can then prepare myself to completely furl the sail. Before I want to furl the sail, I'll first make sure to clear the new leeward sheet. I'll wrap it around the winch and the winch drum 2 or 3 times, and I'll also get the winch handle ready. This ensures that I'll have immediate access to it later on, allowing me to quickly trim the sail tight. After that, I'll move into position to begin the furling process. And Felix will give me orders.
Ready to roll?
I'm all clear.
Okay, the bulkhead is opening.
Only when the sail has been completely rolled away should the helmsman initiate the tacking maneuver. Now we are back on the new upwind course with the wind coming from the port side. The sail is trimmed tight again. We have just completed the tack, turning about 90 to 100 degrees, and now we are heading in the other direction.
We have now seen the tack with the Code Zero. It functions without any problems, absolutely easy, even with a small crew. Theoretically, it's even possible alone with the autopilot, no problem at all. The jibe is, in essence, the very same maneuver. We roll the sail completely in, execute the jibe, and then completely unroll it again.
What's really important here, you simply must always check that the sail isn't hitting anywhere, even when you're performing a jibe. First, please remain on course for now, meaning you never sail a dead downwind course with the sail. Most likely it will be more of a deep broad reach course if the wind conditions are favorable. And then again, first you should stay on your current course, completely furl the sail, then carefully initiate the jibe, complete the jibe maneuver, and only when you are safely on the new course, please unfurl the sail again. This way the sail cannot be damaged anywhere on the rigging. We are now sailing with the Code Zero on a close hauled course, high into the wind. That's the great thing about this sail, that you can cover so many different courses with it. However, that's very difficult for us sail makers because the sail only has one block, one sheeting point, where the sail gets its pull both backwards and downwards. A bobber hauler helps us to adjust the sheet's angle for the particular sailing course. If we film the sail now, you'll notice the aft rig opens quite wide at the top. To close the aft rig more and to stabilize the sail better, we can use the bobber hauler we have here with a small purchase to adjust the sheet's angle. This makes the sheet steeper and increases the tension on the leech. If we change from an upwind course to a beam reach or broad reach, the clew moves much further forward. The bobber hauler would likely be mounted too far aft in this case. We can then adjust by moving it to the mid-cleat, so the sheet's pull is further forward, downwards, allowing the sail to be trimmed better again.
The handling in strong winds with the Code Zero is basically the same. You naturally won't be able to sail as high upwind. In that case, the Code Zero is a fantastic option for you to say, well, maybe there is just a little bit too much wind for the Genneker. I don't really feel comfortable with such a small crew, so I'd rather not do that. Then we can simply use the Code Zero as a downwind sail instead. It works in exactly the same way. Furling it up is absolutely no problem at all, and it works perfectly every time.
With the Code Zero, there are various different materials. There's the fabric we have here now, which is a very light laminate, with which we don't have all the options, or not the optimal ones, also for UV protection. There's a more stable polyester fabric for this, to which UV protection can also be added. This sail is then also called Permanent Hoist Code Zero. You can certainly leave it set even if you're away on vacation for 2 whole weeks. However, if it gets stormy, you should probably take it down for safety to prevent the sail from accidentally unfurling. A heavier fabric, of course, isn't as optimal in light winds as the one we have here.
The Code Zero doesn't just come in one standard size, but it is actually individually customized to exactly what you are looking for. There are Code Zeros made specifically for sailing close to the wind or a cruising Code Zero, just like the one that we have right here. This is a cruising Code Zero with 53% mid-girth. It's perfectly optimized to give you a really wide range of use.